You think you know yourself. You think the voice in your head is you. But what if it isn't? What if the person driving your life is someone you have never met? There is a stranger living inside your mind. Quiet, patient, watching, and most of the time, he is the one making the decisions. You believe you choose your path. You believe you control your emotions. But watch closely. Why do you sabotage your own success? Why do you stay in places that cage you? Why do you repeat the same mistakes and again? Because something deeper is pulling the strings. Something older than your conscious mind. Carl Jung called it the shadow. The part of you that was locked away, your anger, your ambition, your hunger for power. Everything the world told you was dangerous. So you buried it, deep, in the basement of your psyche. But shadows do not disappear. They grow, they wait, they study you, and one day, they break out. That sudden rage you cannot explain. That self-destruction you regret later. That voice that whispers, "Burn it all." That is the shadow kicking the door open. Here is the truth most people never learn. Your darkness is not your enemy. It is your power. Without it, you are harmless. A wolf with no teeth. But the man who faces his shadow becomes something rare. A king who keeps a dragon on a leash. The world teaches you a dangerous lie. Be nice. Be harmless. Be agreeable. Never raise your voice. Never show anger. Never intimidate anyone. And if you follow those rules long enough, you become something very convenient. Not respected. Not powerful. Just harmless. Carl Jung warned about this. A man who cannot harm anyone is not a good man. He is simply a defenseless one. Peace is not the absence of violence. Peace is the control of violence. A wolf without teeth is not peaceful. It is prey. Since childhood you were trained. Hide your anger. Hide your ambition. Hide your hunger for power. Smile. Apologize. Stay small. And slowly, without realizing it, you locked your strongest instincts in a cage. Your aggression, your dominance, your competitive fire, none of it disappeared. It was imprisoned. And anything imprisoned eventually becomes dangerous, because pressure always finds a way out. The shadow does not die in captivity. It evolves. The goal is not to destroy your darkness. That is impossible. The goal is to know it, to sit at the same table with it, to understand what it wants, because the man who knows his darkness is the only man who can truly control it. And the moment you control it, the world starts treating you very differently. Most people will never face this truth. They prefer comfort. They prefer the mask. But if something inside you just woke up, if you can feel that hidden fire, leave a single word in the comments. Awake, not for me, but as a signal that you refuse to stay asleep. Everywhere you go, you wear a mask. A polite mask. A professional mask. A friendly mask. You wear the version of yourself that people accept. The version that gets approval. The version that doesn't cause trouble. Carl Jung called this the persona, the social mask. It helps you survive in the world. It gets you hired. It gets you accepted. It gets you invited into the tribe. Without it, society would reject you. But here is the danger. The mask was never meant to stay on forever. And yet, most people forget they are wearing one. The mask sticks, slowly, quietly, until one day you cannot tell where the mask ends and where you begin. And that is when the strange loneliness begins. People say they love you, they laugh with you, they spend time with you. But deep down, you know something terrifying. They don't love you. They love the performance. They love the mask. Freedom begins with a dangerous decision. The willingness to be disliked, to stop performing, to stop pretending, to stop laughing at jokes that are not funny, to stop saying yes when you mean no. Because the moment you remove the mask, two things happen. Many people leave, and the real ones finally see you. The herd will not like it. The herd never does. Because masks make people comfortable, but the man who stops performing becomes unpredictable. And nothing makes the world more nervous than a man who no longer needs its approval. There is a brutal rule about the human mind, one that most people never discover. Everything that irritates you about someone else is often something you refuse to see in yourself. Carl Jung called this projection, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Think about the people who trigger you: the arrogant man, the manipulative woman, the lazy coworker, the loud attention seeker. Why do they bother you so much? If you were truly neutral, they would only seem strange. But they don't. They ignite something inside you. That reaction is the clue. Because the trait you hate the most is usually the one you buried deepest. You hate arrogance. Maybe you are starving your own ambition. You hate manipulation. Maybe you are ashamed of your desire to influence people. You hate laziness. Maybe a part of you is exhausted from pretending to be strong. Your enemies are mirrors, not because they are right, but because they reveal something. They reveal the parts of yourself you abandoned. And once you reclaim them, the emotional charge disappears. You stop reacting. You start observing, and the observer always wins. Because the easiest way to control a person is to trigger them. Make them angry. Make them feel morally superior. Make them react. But the man who knows his shadow cannot be triggered so easily. He sees the game. And once you see the game, you stop being a pawn. Most people will never look into this mirror. It is too uncomfortable, too honest. But if this reflection made you think, let this idea travel. Pass this insight forward, because someone out there is still fighting shadows they don't realize are their own. Most people believe their shadow is a monster, a place filled with anger, violence, selfishness, dark impulses that should be buried forever. But Jung discovered something shocking. The shadow is not just darkness, it is also treasure. Inside the shadow is your unused power, your buried courage, your suppressed voice, your forgotten creativity. Everything that made you too intense, too loud, too different for the world around you. When you were young, someone told you to be quiet, to stop asking questions, to stop challenging authority, to stop being difficult. And little by little, you locked away your fire. But the shadow remembers. It remembers your ambition, your dominance, your hunger to build something great. And when you finally face it, you realize something strange. The shadow was never trying to destroy you. It was trying to wake you up. This is the secret most people never learn. Your darkness is energy, raw energy. The energy you once used to explore, to compete, to conquer your fears. When you stop fighting yourself, that energy comes back. The world fears men who integrate their shadow because they are calm, but dangerous. They are kind, but not weak. They are peaceful, but fully capable of war. And that balance is where real power begins. There is another force inside every man. Quiet, emotional, unpredictable. Carl Jung called it the anima, the feminine presence in the male psyche, not a weakness, not a flaw, but a powerful current most men refuse to understand. Your anima governs your emotional world, your moods, your longing, your imagination, your capacity for love. But here is the danger. If you ignore her, she does not disappear. She takes control. You have seen this man, calm in public, logical, disciplined, but the moment emotion enters, he collapses, obsessed with a woman, controlled by moods, drowning in feelings he never learned to face. The integrated man does something different. He observes his emotions. He does not say, "I am angry." He says, "Something in me is angry." Distance, awareness, control, and slowly, the storm becomes a conversation. When you understand your anima, something powerful happens. You stop chasing completion. You stop searching for someone to fix your emptiness, because the emotional world inside you is finally yours to command. The man who integrates his anima becomes rare. He is logical without being cold, emotional without being weak, grounded without being rigid. And because he understands his inner world, no one outside can easily control it. At some point, something strange happens. After you face your shadow, after you stop lying to yourself, reality begins to change. Not dramatically, not magically, but subtly. As if the world is responding to something inside you, you meet the right person. At the exact moment, you hear the exact idea you needed. At the exact second, a door opens that did not exist yesterday. Jung called this synchronicity, meaningful coincidence. The modern world says these things are random. Luck, chance, coincidence. But Jung saw something deeper. The inner world and the outer world are mirrors. Change the inside, and the outside begins to reorganize. Most people work harder, push harder, grind longer, but their life goes nowhere. Why? Because the engine inside them is fighting itself. Driving forward with the brakes on, when the psyche becomes aligned, something changes. You stop forcing life. You start moving with it. Opportunities appear faster. People feel your presence. And reality begins to cooperate. This is not magic. It is alignment. When the mind is no longer divided, your actions become precise. Your presence becomes magnetic. And the world quietly starts moving in your direction. At some point in every life, a choice appears. Not a loud one. Not dramatic. Just a quiet moment. A fork in the road. One path leads back to the herd. Comfort, approval, predictability. The other path leads into the unknown. Most people choose the safe road. They inherit their opinions. They inherit their beliefs. They inherit their ambitions. Everything downloaded from parents, from culture, from the crowd. Copies, living among copies. But individuation demands something else. It demands betrayal. Betrayal of the average life. Betrayal of borrowed identities. To individuate is to walk where there is no path. Because if there is a path, someone else made it. Here is the price. Your old identity must die. The people who knew you before may not understand who you are becoming. Friends will disappear. Expectations will collapse. But this death is not destruction. It is transformation. Jung said something most people ignore. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But privilege has a price. Comfort, you must leave it. Security, you must outgrow it. Approval, you must stop needing it. The herd fears this journey because the individuated man cannot be predicted. He cannot be controlled. He does not borrow his identity. He builds it, piece by piece. And once a man becomes whole, the world no longer decides who he is. There is a warning Jung gave that most people ignore. Knowledge can be dangerous, not because it is false, but because it feels like power. You read an idea, you watch a video, and suddenly you feel transformed. But there is a trap in this feeling. Knowing the path is not the same as walking it. You can memorize every map of the mountain. You can explain every theory, and still never climb a single step. This is the intellectual trap. The man who knows everything, but changes nothing. He analyzes people, diagnoses their shadows, explains psychology perfectly, but his own life remains the same. Real transformation is not intellectual. It is uncomfortable. It is slow. It is personal. It means catching yourself in your own lies. Admitting your jealousy. Admitting your fear. Admitting the parts of yourself you tried to hide. Shadow work is not glamorous. It will not look impressive to other people. No applause. No recognition. Just you alone, facing the truth about who you are. Information is only the map. The real journey begins after the video ends, after the book closes, after the ideas fade. That is where the real work begins. Carl Jung spent his entire life studying the human mind. Dreams, symbols, madness. And after decades of research, he arrived at one terrifying conclusion. The greatest danger to a human being is not the world. It is the unconscious. When you do not understand your mind controls you. Your fears decide your actions. Your shadow chooses your enemies. Your wounds choose your relationships. And your unconscious quietly writes your destiny. Jung warned humanity. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most people never do this work. It is too uncomfortable, too confronting, too honest. But the man who does this work becomes different. He understands his shadow. He understands his emotions. He understands his motives. And because he knows his darkness, no one else can weaponize it against him. This is the real power of self-knowledge. Not motivation, not confidence. Freedom. Freedom from unconscious patterns. Freedom from invisible chains. Freedom to choose who you become. The journey into the mind never truly ends. There are deeper layers, hidden forces, unseen patterns. So if you are ready to keep exploring, stay close. Subscribe and turn on the bell, because the next lesson may reveal another truth about the mind most people will never discover.